You believe your absence makes you forgettable. That if you stop texting, stop calling, stop showing up, you will simply fade from her mind, replaced by the next man who offers his constant attention. This is the great lie your anxiety tells you. The truth is, your absence is not an empty space, it is a mirror. It is the only thing that forces her to see what she truly feels for you. She doesn't feel your value when you are trying to prove it to her every single minute. She feels it in the sudden, deafening silence when you stop. That silence is a question mark that hangs in the air between you, and her mind will work tirelessly to answer it. It is in that quiet void that attraction is either born or revealed for the illusion it always was. If this silence feels familiar, if you're ready to understand it instead of fear it, then join this conversation. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and share your thoughts below, because the journey from confusion to clarity begins right now. You've been operating under a deep illusion that attraction is a project to be managed through constant effort. You see her interest as a fragile flame that you must feed with a steady stream of validation, compliments, and communication. Her phone lights up, it's you. Her day is ending, you're asking how it was. You are present, you are consistent, you are predictable. This relentless effort comes from a deep-seated fear of being forgotten, a belief that your worth is directly proportional to your visibility. So you smother the fire, thinking you are nurturing it, piling on so much wood that you starve it of the very oxygen it needs to burn. You've felt this, haven't you? The strange inversion of energy. The more you invest, the more you lean in, the colder the space between you becomes. Her replies get shorter. The warmth in her voice dissipates, replaced by a polite, distant efficiency. You can hear the wall being built, brick by silent brick, with every unanswered text. This is the paradox that drives men to madness. Your logical mind screams that more effort should yield more results, but her emotional reality defies your logic. She pulls away not because you're doing something wrong, but because your constant presence gives her nothing to move toward. You are chasing her so closely that you've eliminated the very space where longing and desire can grow. Your pursuit feels less like affection and more like a cage closing in. So, what truly happens when you finally stop, when you disappear? Not as a trick, but as a return to your own center. You are not punishing her, you are giving her a gift. You are giving her the gift of your absence. In this new, unexpected quiet, her own thoughts become the loudest thing in her world. The internal monologue she has about you is no longer interrupted by your next message. For the first time, she is left alone with the impression you've made. Your silence creates a vacuum, and her mind, by its very nature, will rush to fill it. It will replay your conversations, re-examine your smile, and reconsider the feeling of your presence. Your absence doesn't create her feelings. It simply gets out of the way so she can finally discover them for herself. The lie you tell yourself is swift, and it feels like the truth. When her energy shifts, when the replies slow down, your mind immediately jumps to a single devastating conclusion. She's losing interest. It's a story rooted in deep insecurity, the one that whispers that you are not enough on your own, that your presence is a performance she must constantly applaud. Her silence isn't interpreted as a neutral event, a busy day, a moment of reflection, but as a direct verdict on your worth. You see her digital distance as an emotional chasm opening at your feet. This belief, this simple, panicked thought, is the trigger for every mistake you are about to make. It's the starting gun for a race you can only lose because you're running against an opponent that doesn't even exist outside of your own fear. This is where the addiction begins. The compulsion to fix it, the itch in your fingers to send another text, something funny, something clever, anything to jolt her back into the rhythm you had before. You call this showing interest, but it is actually a desperate grab for control. You are trying to control her perception, her feelings, her timeline. Each message you send is a small dose of validation you are trying to inject into the system, hoping to get a hit of her attention in return. But her silence hits you like a wall of cold air, And your reaction is to try and break it down with more words, more effort, more times you asterisk. You fail to realize that you are not fixing a problem, you are becoming one. Your neediness is a weight, and you are asking her to carry it for you. You misread every signal because you are looking at it through the distorted lens of your own anxiety. When she needs space, you see rejection. When she is quiet, you hear disapproval. Her natural ebb and flow of energy, a rhythm that belongs entirely to her, becomes a referendum on your value as a man. You watch her online status, you count the hours between messages, you become a detective searching for clues to a crime that was never committed. This hypervigilance drains your own power, turning your focus from your own life to the tiny glowing screen that has become the arbiter of your emotional state. You are no longer a man with a purpose who happens to be interested in her. You are a man whose purpose has become getting a response from her. Tell me if you've seen this before. This creates a vicious feedback loop. Your fear of her pulling away makes you lean in harder. Your leaning in feels like pressure to her, a suffocating need for reassurance that she never agreed to provide. So she instinctively pulls back further to reclaim her own emotional space. Her withdrawal then confirms your initial fear, and you panic, doubling down on your efforts. You chase, she retreats. You push, she resists. It is the emotional equivalent of struggling in quicksand. Your frantic movements to save yourself are the very thing that makes you sink faster. You are trying to solve the problem of her distance by closing it, when the only solution is to create a powerful, attractive stillness within yourself that makes her want to cross that distance on her own. The lie is not really about her, it is about you. You believe that her interest is something you must earn and actively maintain, moment to moment. This is because, on some level, you fear that if you were to stand still, if you were to simply be yourself without the performance, you would not be enough. Her validation has become a substitute for your own self-worth. Her attention is the mirror in which you check your own reflection for value. So when she looks away, the mirror goes dark, and you are left alone with the terrifying feeling of your own emptiness. This is why her silence feels so personal, so catastrophic. It's not just a missed connection, it feels like a fundamental erasure of your significance. And in this state, you surrender all of your power. By believing her distance is a sign of your failure, you make her the judge and jury of your emotional world. You give her the remote control to your feelings. She pulls away, you feel despair. She texts back, you feel relief. Your inner state becomes a chaotic storm that rises and falls with her whims. You are no longer the stable, centered man she might have been drawn to in the first place. You have become a reflection of her behavior, a reactive force instead of an active one. The lie that she is losing interest forces you into a desperate chase, and the chase is where all attraction goes to die. Because the man who chases is a man who signals with every step that he believes he is not worthy of being met halfway. The truth is, her silence is not about you. It's a mechanism, an unconscious defense system designed to test the reality of your world against the pressure of her own. When she pulls away, she is not rejecting you. She is applying pressure to your frame to see if it bends. Her instinct needs to know if your confidence is real or just a performance designed to win her over. She creates distance to see if you will panic and chase, thereby revealing that your emotional state is dependent on her approval. The cool, sudden shift you feel is her subconscious asking a single, vital question. Are you the solid ground, or are you just another wave that will crash and disappear? Your entire perception of this moment hinges on understanding that you are not being judged, you are being tested. And the test is not about her, it's about your own center. Your disappearance is the first variable in her emotional equation that she cannot control. You were the constant, the predictable rhythm of good morning texts and late night check-ins. You were a known quantity. By ceasing all of it without explanation, you don't just go silent, you shatter the pattern. This disruption creates a flicker of confusion, a subtle but deeply unsettling loss of her own power. Her mind, accustomed to your consistent input, now faces a void. She checks her phone, not because she misses you yet, but because she expects to see your name. Its absence is a small tear in the fabric of her reality. This initial feeling is a prick of irritation, the quiet annoyance of an expected tribute not being paid. It is the first sign that your presence mattered more than she let on. This is where the great inversion happens. Her mind, once a passive receiver of your attention, is forced to become an active participant. The silence you've created is a question she now feels compelled to answer. Why did he stop? Is he angry? Did he find someone else? The space you occupied is no longer being filled by your efforts. So her imagination rushes in to do the work. It is a powerful, untamable force. Her brain begins to construct narratives, to replay conversations, to search for clues she might have missed. You are no longer the man trying to get her attention. You have become the mystery that commands it. Your absence has done what your presence never could. It has made her mind work for you, turning you from a simple character in her day into the central plot of her thoughts. In this newfound silence, your true value is finally calculated. She no longer sees your effort, only your essence. Her mind filters through your past interactions, but it isn't looking for the compliments you gave or the plans you tried to make. It is searching for the feeling of your presence. She remembers the way you held eye contact, the calm confidence in your voice when you spoke about your passions, that moment you laughed without needing her to approve. Your absence strips away the static of your pursuit and amplifies the signal of your character. If that signal was one of a grounded, purposeful man, her imagination will build a monument to it. The silence is a crucible. It burns away the performance and reveals what is real. Attraction is not a negotiation. It is a response to emotional gravity. A woman is not drawn to the man who chases her because his chase signals that he has left his own center of orbit. He becomes a moon trying to dictate the path of a planet, a violation of the natural order. She is drawn to the sun, the man whose life, purpose, and identity create such a powerful gravitational field that she naturally wants to enter his orbit. Your constant pursuit tells her your world revolves around her. Your withdrawal into your own life, your own mission, reignites your gravity. She doesn't process this logically. She feels it as a sudden, magnetic pull towards something solid, something real. Your self-possession is the most attractive force you possess. As her mind churns in the void, you left a new, more potent emotion begins to form, a possessive irritation. The thought that your focus, your energy, your desire might now be aimed at someone else creates a surprising sting. This isn't a rational fear. It's a primal, territorial instinct. She had grown accustomed to your attention as a given, and its removal feels like a loss. This is the moment she might find herself looking at your online profile or feeling a jolt when she sees you out in the world, living your life without her. This possessiveness is the dark, fertile soil from which genuine longing grows. It is the first undeniable proof she has that your absence is not an empty space, but a heavy, tangible weight she now has to carry. Understand that her tests are rarely conscious. They are instinctual probes from her feminine core, designed to find the edges of your masculine reality. When she is difficult, when she creates drama, when she pulls back into silence, she is throwing a stone against the wall of your world to hear the sound it makes. Does it ring with the solid thud of an unshakable foundation, or does it echo with the hollow fragility of a man who needs her to be happy? Chasing her, demanding an explanation, begging for her attention, these are all failed tests. They prove her validation is your purpose. But your calm, unwavering focus on your own path is the only answer that satisfies her deepest instincts. It shows her your world is vast, and she is being invited into it, not asked to become it. So the hidden truth is this: she must lose you to find you. She cannot appreciate the warmth of your fire when you are smothering her with it. She can only feel its value when she is left in the cold of your absence. Your disappearance forces a confrontation, not with you, but with herself and the space you truly occupied in her life. She doesn't fall for you in the moments you are trying to impress her. She falls for you in the quiet moments of your absence, when the echo of your presence becomes the loudest thing in her world. You are not creating a void. You are simply stepping back, allowing her to finally see the shape of the space you've held all along. This is not a game of manipulation. It is the physics of attraction. The moment her silence descends is the great fork in the road, the point where the boy and the man diverge. The common man feels this silence as an accusation, a personal failure that must be rectified immediately. His anxiety screams for action, for a clever text, a funny meme, an excuse to reappear on her screen and force a response. This is the panic of a man who has placed his emotional center of gravity inside someone else. He sees her withdrawal as a problem he must solve, a fire he must put out. But the centered man sees it differently. He recognizes the urge to chase for what it is, the frantic grasping of his own ego, the fear of being forgotten. He feels the same pull, the same itch in his fingers, but he does not act on it. His first move is to do nothing at all. This stillness is his first declaration of power. Instead of fighting the void she has created, he embraces it. He understands that you cannot control the river, you can only control your own vessel. He puts his phone down, not with resentment, but with purpose. He turns his focus back to the things that are truly his work, his body, his mission. He channels that restless, anxious energy into a productive force in his own life. This is not a strategy to win her back. It is a commitment to not lose himself. The insecure man waits by the phone, his world shrinking to the size of a tiny screen. The secure man expands his world, knowing that his value is not determined by her replies, but is forged in the fires of his own discipline and passion. He is not ignoring her. He is simply refusing to let her silence become the loudest thing in his life. He is tending to his own garden. This shift transforms him from a performer into a presence. The man who chases is always performing, constantly auditioning for her approval. Every word, every action is a calculated attempt to manage her perception of him. But when you withdraw your attention from her and place it back onto your own life, you stop performing. You simply times are asterisk. Your presence becomes authentic because it is no longer a means to an end. When you are with your friends, you are truly with them. When you are focused on a task, you are fully immersed. You are no longer a fragmented man, with one part of your mind constantly rehearsing what you will say to her next. This undivided presence is incredibly rare and deeply magnetic. She feels this shift even from a distance. The man who was trying so hard to be interesting has been replaced by a man who is simply interested in his own life. The ideal reaction is one of non-resistance. You observe her silence, you feel the anxiety it creates within you, but you do not become it. You let the feeling pass through you without judgment. Trying to force a connection when she has pulled away is like trying to capture water in a fist. The harder you squeeze, the more it slips through your fingers. The truly powerful man allows her the space to be exactly who she is in that moment, even if it is distant and cold. He does not label her silence as bad or wrong. It simply times is asterisk. This is a profound act of trust, not trust in her, but trust in himself. He trusts that his own world is solid enough to withstand the weather of her moods. As the old philosophers knew, muddy water is best cleared by leaving it alone. He gives the emotional chaos time to settle, knowing that clarity cannot be forced. This is when you rebuild your own gravitational field. Her silence is a gift, an invitation to remember that your life is the main event. You use this time to reconnect with the man you are when no one is watching. You call that old friend. You dive deeper into that project you've been neglecting. You plan an adventure for yourself. You make your own world so compelling that her presence becomes a welcome addition, not a desperate necessity. A man whose entire world revolves around a woman has no gravity of his own. He is just a moon reflecting her light. The man who builds his own universe becomes a sun. His purpose, his passions, his unwavering center, these are the source of his heat and light. He does not chase planets. His gravity pulls them into a natural orbit around him. This is the ultimate reframe. Her absence is not a rejection, but a redirection back to your own throne. And so when she finally reaches out, and she almost always does, your reaction is one of calm, grounded warmth. You see her name appear on your screen, and there is no frantic rush of adrenaline, no desperate scramble to reply. You feel a quiet sense of recognition, not a jolt of validation. You finish what you are doing. You respond not from a place of relief, but from a place of genuine presence. You have passed her test, but more importantly, you have passed your own. You have proven to yourself that your emotional stability is not for sale. This calm response is the final piece of the puzzle. It communicates everything without saying a word, that your world did not stop turning when she went quiet, that you are a man of substance, and that your attention is valuable because it is not given away lightly. You haven't won a game. You've embodied a new reality. And so you arrive at the final truth. You began this journey believing she pulls away because she feels nothing, but now you see the deeper reality. She pulls away because she feels too much. And her instinct must know if you are strong enough to hold that feeling. Her silence was never a verdict on your worth. It was a question about your foundation. The entire storm of her distance, her coldness, her tests, it was all a subconscious search for the man who would not break in the wind. The great liberating insight is that you were never meant to calm her storm. You were meant to be the mountain that shows her it is safe to rage. The chase ends not when you catch her, but when you realize your power was never in your legs, but in your roots. You were trying to win a game against her, only to discover the real opponent was your own need for the game to exist. This is where the entire dynamic collapses, where the game of push and pull simply ceases to be. You do not win, you transcend. Her silence no longer feels like a weapon against you because you have put down your own shield. Her distance is no longer a threat because you are no longer defined by her proximity. When you stop reacting, when her emotional weather patterns no longer dictate your inner climate, her tests become meaningless. They are stones thrown against a mountain. They make a sound, but they do not move it. The man who is anchored in his own purpose does not need to interpret her every move because his own next move is already decided. It is his life, his mission, his path. This is the ultimate power, not to control her, but to become so completely in control of yourself that her attempts to control you become irrelevant. You don't attract by chasing, you attract by becoming still enough to be seen. The man she truly desires is not the one who can explain himself perfectly or prove his devotion through constant effort. She desires the man whose presence is an answer in itself. Your stability becomes the unspoken explanation for everything. She doesn't want your words, she wants your world. She wants to feel the gravitational pull of a life so well lived that her presence is a complement to it, not the center of it. The ultimate attraction is not born from what you do for her, but from what you do for yourself. When you become the sun, you no longer chase the planets. You simply burn, and your gravity does the rest. Her attraction is no longer a prize to be won, but a natural consequence of the man you have become. Look back now at the memory of her silence, the one that used to fill you with a cold dread. See it not as a rejection, but as an invitation. It was an invitation to leave the frantic, noisy world of her validation and enter the deep, quiet stillness of your own. It was a gift that forced you to find the strength you never knew you had. The entire journey was never about understanding her. It was about mastering yourself. The illusion was thinking you needed to solve the riddle of her behavior. The truth is, you only ever needed to become the man for whom there is no riddle. You are no longer the boy who fears the silence. You are the man who is the source of it. Now, take a breath in this new space you have created. Comment what you now see in her that you couldn't before.